Have you ever wondered if the health checkups you're told are essential might do more harm than good as you age? It's a shocking thought, but the truth is, some routine screenings can lead to unnecessary stress, risky procedures, and even jeopardize your quality of life, especially after 70. In this video, we'll uncover 5 specific health checkups that seniors are better off avoiding. Tests that even experienced doctors often skip for themselves. You need to watch until the end because we'll reveal not only the hidden dangers of these common procedures, but also smarter, safer alternatives that empower you to take control of your health with confidence, ensuring you live well without falling into the trap of overdiagnosis or overtreatment. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. Number 1 is the colonoscopy trap. For decades, colonoscopy has been heralded as the gold standard for preventing colorectal cancer, a screening tool credited with saving countless lives. It's a procedure deeply ingrained in medical practice, often recommended starting at age 50 for those at average risk. However, as we age, particularly beyond 70, the narrative around routine colonoscopy shifts dramatically. What was once a life-saving intervention in your 50s or 60s can, in later years, quietly morph into a source of significant harm, especially for those without symptoms, a family history of colon cancer, or other risk factors. The risks associated with the procedure, physical, emotional, and financial, can far outweigh the benefits for many older adults, turning a well-intentioned screening into a cascade of unnecessary stress, complications, and even life-altering consequences. The colonoscopy process is far from benign. It begins with an arduous bowel preparation, requiring patients to consume powerful laxatives to completely clear the intestines. This step alone can be grueling, but for older adults, it poses unique dangers. The intense cleansing process often leads to severe dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and, in some cases, kidney strain, conditions that can be particularly hazardous for seniors with age-related declines in organ function. These complications can result in hospitalization or worse, especially in those with underlying health conditions like heart disease or diabetes. The procedure itself, while routine, is invasive. It involves sedation, typically with medications like midazolam or propofol, and the insertion of a flexible scope deep into the colon to examine its lining. Sedation, while necessary to ensure comfort, carries heightened risks for older adults. Aging bodies metabolize these drugs more slowly, increasing the likelihood of prolonged grogginess, confusion, or delirium post-procedure. These effects can persist for hours or even days, elevating the risk of falls, a leading cause of injury and disability in seniors. A single fall can lead to fractures, such as a broken hip, which often triggers a downward spiral of immobility, rehabilitation, and diminished quality of life. Perhaps most concerning, however, is what happens after a colonoscopy detects abnormalities, such as small polyps. In younger patients, removing these growths is often a straightforward preventive measure, as some polyps have the potential to develop into cancer over time. But in older adults, particularly those over 75, the timeline and implications change. Many polyps are slow-growing, taking 10 to 15 years, or longer, to become malignant. For someone in their late 70s or 80s, with a life expectancy that may not extend that far, these findings are often clinically insignificant. Yet, their discovery can ignite a chain reaction of fear-driven medical interventions. The detection of a polyp frequently prompts biopsies, repeat colonoscopies, or even surgical procedures like partial colon resections. Each step introduces new risks: infections, bleeding, anesthesia complications, or prolonged recovery periods that can erode an older adult's strength and independence. These interventions are often pursued under the banner of prevention, but when the likelihood of benefit is minimal compared to the potential for harm, the line between precaution and overtreatment blurs. The emotional toll is equally significant. The word polyp alone can evoke dread, conjuring fears of cancer and mortality, even when the risk is negligible. This anxiety can haunt patients, overshadowing their daily lives and eroding their peace of mind. Consider the story of George, an 82-year-old retired teacher I knew personally. George was vibrant, walked daily, and remained mentally sharp, with no digestive symptoms or family history of colon cancer. Despite this, His primary care physician recommended a routine colonoscopy, citing standard screening guidelines. George, trusting his doctor, agreed. The bowel prep was brutal, leaving him weak and dehydrated. Post-procedure, the sedative lingered, leaving him disoriented. That night, he stumbled in his bathroom, fell, and fractured his hip. What followed was a grueling ordeal. Surgery, months of rehabilitation, mounting medical bills, and a profound loss of independence. The colonoscopy itself? It revealed nothing abnormal. George's story is not an isolated anecdote but a sobering reminder of how a single test can unravel a senior's health and well-being. This isn't to vilify colonoscopy or the medical professionals who recommend it. Doctors are trained to prioritize early detection and prevention, and for many years, colonoscopy has been a cornerstone of that approach. However, medical science is evolving, and so must our understanding of what constitutes appropriate care in later life. Emerging evidence, including studies from organizations like the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, suggests that routine colonoscopy after age 75 offers diminishing returns for most individuals, particularly those without symptoms or elevated risk. For these patients, the potential harms, dehydration, sedation complications, and unnecessary follow-up procedures, often outweigh the likelihood of preventing a cancer that may never develop in their lifetime. Fortunately, alternatives exist. Non-invasive stool-based tests, such as the fecal immunochemical test, FIT, or multi-target stool DNA tests, like Cologuard, are safer, more convenient, and highly effective for detecting early signs of colorectal cancer. These tests can be done at home, require no bowel prep or sedation, and pose minimal risk, making them a compelling option for older adults. While they may not provide the same level of detail as a colonoscopy, they are sufficiently sensitive for screening purposes in low-risk individuals. The key is to approach health decisions with intention and discernment. If you're over 70 and symptom-free, it's entirely reasonable to question the need for a routine colonoscopy. Engage in open conversations with your healthcare provider about your personal risk factors, life expectancy, and values. Ask about less invasive alternatives and weigh the physical, emotional, and financial costs of proceeding with a test that may not meaningfully improve your health. Better care in later life often means fewer interventions, not more. By being cautious and selective, you're not neglecting your health. You're honoring it with thoughtful, informed choices that prioritize your quality of life. Number 2 is the annual full-body scan mistake. The allure of a full-body scan is undeniable. The idea of a high-tech machine peering into every corner of your body, uncovering hidden threats before they manifest, feels like the epitome of proactive healthcare. Advertisements for CT scans, MRIs, or executive health packages promise peace of mind, touting their ability to catch problems early. For seniors over 70, however, this seductive promise often delivers more harm than good, setting off a cascade of fear, invasive procedures, and unnecessary treatments that can diminish both lifespan and quality of life. Far from being a harmless precaution, full-body scans in older adults can become a medical misadventure with profound consequences. Unlike targeted screenings, like mammograms for breast cancer or colonoscopies for colorectal cancer, full-body scans are not designed for specific risks. These powerful imaging tools, typically CT or MRI scans, capture detailed images of organs, bones, and tissues from head to toe, detecting abnormalities of all kinds. While this might sound like an advantage, it's precisely this comprehensiveness that makes them problematic. Full-body scans are exquisitely sensitive, picking up not only potential threats but also countless incidental findings, benign nodules, cysts, or shadows that are harmless and would never impact health. In medical parlance, these are known as incidentalomas, and they are extraordinarily common, especially in older adults whose bodies naturally accumulate quirks over time. The discovery of these findings often triggers a domino effect. A small lung nodule or a tiny lesion on the liver, for instance, may prompt a referral to a specialist, additional imaging, or invasive procedures like biopsies. Each step escalates the risk. Biopsies can lead to complications such as bleeding, infection, or, in the case of lung biopsies, a collapsed lung. For older adults, whose resilience to such interventions is reduced, these risks are magnified. Even seemingly minor procedures can result in prolonged recovery, hospital stays, or setbacks that erode physical function. Moreover, the physical demands of imaging itself, lying still for extended periods, enduring contrast dyes, or navigating the claustrophobia of an MRI, can be taxing for seniors with arthritis, frailty, or other age-related limitations. The emotional toll is equally significant and often underappreciated. The moment a scan report mentions an abnormality, fear takes hold. Seniors may spend weeks or months haunted by the possibility of cancer or other serious conditions, even when the finding is statistically unlikely to cause harm. This anxiety can erode mental health, disrupt sleep, and strain relationships, transforming vibrant individuals into patients consumed by worry. The medical system, in its quest to rule out problems, perpetuates this cycle, ordering more tests and procedures that feed the fear rather than resolve it. Consider Betty, a 78-year-old woman I met at a community health seminar. Betty was the picture of vitality, walking daily, gardening, and enjoying an active social life. During a local health fair, a mobile imaging clinic offered discounted full-body scans, marketing them as a preventive tool. Intrigued by the idea of staying ahead of her health, Betty signed up. The scan revealed a tiny lesion on her kidney, so small it had caused no symptoms and was unlikely to ever do so. But the word lesion sent her into a tailspin. Her doctor, erring on the side of caution, recommended a biopsy, which led to surgery to remove the lesion. The aftermath was devastating. Complications from the procedure left Betty fatigued, in pain, and unable to resume her active lifestyle. Months later, she was still grappling with the fallout, all for a finding that, in all likelihood, would have remained silent forever. This phenomenon, known as overdiagnosis, is a hallmark of full-body scans. Overdiagnosis occurs when a test identifies a condition that would never have caused symptoms or shortened life if left undetected. In older adults, the threshold for overdiagnosis is lower because many abnormalities progress slowly, if at all, and competing health issues, heart disease, dementia, or frailty, often take precedence. Yet, the medical system is wired to act, driven by a culture that equates more testing with better care. This mindset, combined with the financial incentives of imaging centers and the fear of missing something, fuels the overuse of full-body scans. Financially, these scans are a significant burden. Unlike guideline-recommended screenings, full-body scans are rarely covered by Medicare or private insurance unless a specific medical indication exists. Seniors often pay thousands of dollars out of pocket, believing they're investing in their health. Instead, they may be buying a ticket to a cycle of endless testing, specialist visits, and procedures that drain savings and deliver little tangible benefit. So, what's the alternative? Responsible healthcare in later life means trusting your body and prioritizing how you feel over what a machine might reveal. Routine checkups, targeted screenings based on evidence, like blood pressure checks or cholesterol monitoring, and open communication with your doctor are far more effective for maintaining health. If a specific symptom arises, unexplained pain, weight loss, or fatigue, targeted imaging may be warranted, but blanket scans in the absence of symptoms are rarely justified. Ultimately, the goal is to reclaim agency over your health decisions. Recognize that not every shadow on a scan deserves your attention, energy, or fear. By focusing on meaningful, evidence-based care, you can protect your well-being and preserve the vitality that defines your later years. True prevention lies not in chasing every possible abnormality but in making thoughtful choices that honor your body, your values, and your life. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 3 is the overuse of cardiac stress tests. For decades, the cardiac stress test, often conducted on a treadmill or through chemical stimulation, has been heralded as a cornerstone of heart disease detection, particularly for older adults. The premise is straightforward. Push the heart to its limits and observe how it performs under strain. In your 50s or early 60s, this approach can indeed be a valuable tool for identifying potential cardiovascular issues before they escalate. However, as individuals cross the threshold of 70, the logic behind routine stress testing begins to falter, and what was once a helpful diagnostic measure can transform into a questionable, and sometimes perilous, procedure. The primary issue with cardiac stress tests in seniors lies in their propensity to produce false positives. Test results that suggest a heart problem when, in reality, the heart is functioning adequately for the individual's age and health status. These misleading outcomes stem from the natural physiological changes that accompany aging. As we grow older, arteries gradually stiffen, blood pressure becomes more variable, and the heart's electrical activity may exhibit subtle shifts. These changes are often benign and do not necessarily signal disease. However, the stress test, designed with standardized benchmarks, lacks the sophistication to account for these age-related variations, frequently interpreting them as abnormalities. When a stress test yields an ambiguous or alarming result, it sets off a diagnostic cascade that can lead to significant emotional and physical consequences. Patients may be referred for invasive procedures such as angiograms, which involve threading a catheter into the heart's blood vessels to visualize blockages, or coronary catheterizations. In some cases, these findings prompt even more aggressive interventions, such as stent placements or bypass surgeries. While these procedures can be life-saving when addressing symptomatic or high-risk conditions, they carry substantial risks for seniors, including bleeding complications, kidney damage from contrast eyes, dangerous drops in blood pressure, and infections. Recovery from such interventions also becomes more challenging with age, increasing the likelihood of prolonged hospital stays, diminished quality of life, and even life-threatening complications. Consider the case of George, a 74-year-old retired bus driver from Ohio. George was in good health, with no symptoms of heart disease, no chest pain, no shortness of breath, no unusual fatigue. During a routine physical, his primary care physician, erring on the side of caution, recommended a stress test. The results were borderline, prompting a referral to a cardiologist. Within weeks, George underwent an angioplasty to address a minor arterial blockage that had never caused him any symptoms. Tragically, the procedure led to a severe infection at the catheter insertion site. George spent weeks in the intensive care unit and months in rehabilitation, with his independence and vitality permanently compromised. His story raises a critical question. Was the stress test worth the devastating consequences? Leading medical organizations, including the American College of Cardiology and American Geriatric Society, have increasingly cautioned against routine cardiac stress testing in asymptomatic older adults. The consensus is clear. For seniors without symptoms such as chest pain, shortness of breath, or unexplained fatigue, the potential benefits of stress testing are often outweighed by the risks. The goal of healthy aging is not to chase every hypothetical problem but to prioritize quality of life, preserving independence, mobility, and emotional well-being. The allure of cardiac stress testing is undeniable. The heart is a powerful symbol of life itself, and the impulse to check its health is deeply ingrained. Yet, true wisdom lies in recognizing when medical intervention offers more harm than good. Instead of relying on tests designed for younger populations, seniors can support their heart health through practical, low-risk measures. Daily walks to maintain cardiovascular fitness, nutritious meals rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, social engagement to bolster mental health, and stress management techniques like mindfulness or meditation. These foundational habits offer far greater benefits than a treadmill test, without the associated dangers. Ultimately, healthy aging requires discernment. Number 4. The pitfalls of routine colonoscopies. Colon cancer is a formidable adversary, often developing silently without early warning signs. By the time symptoms emerge, the disease may have progressed significantly, making the idea of preventive screening deeply compelling. For years, colonoscopies have been championed as a gold standard tool for detecting precancerous polyps and early-stage cancers, saving countless lives. However, for adults over 70, the equation changes, and the risks associated with routine colonoscopies can begin to overshadow their benefits, particularly for those without symptoms or a concerning medical history. The colonoscopy procedure, while effective, is not benign, especially for older adults. It begins with an arduous bowel preparation process, requiring patients to consume large volumes of powerful laxatives to clear the colon. For seniors, this can be physically taxing, leading to dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and kidney stress. These disruptions can cause dizziness, weakness, and, in some cases, falls, a significant concern for those with mobility issues or who live alone. Falls during bowel prep are more common than many realize and can result in fractures or other injuries that compromise independence. The procedure itself involves full sedation, which carries additional risks for older patients. As we age, the liver metabolizes medications more slowly, and the brain becomes more sensitive to sedatives, increasing the likelihood of postoperative cognitive dysfunction, POCD. This condition can manifest as confusion, memory lapses, or brain fog, persisting for weeks or even months. For seniors, These cognitive changes can disrupt daily life, strain relationships, and erode confidence. In rare but serious cases, colonoscopies can also cause complications such as bleeding, bowel perforation, or adverse reactions to anesthesia, which may necessitate emergency surgery or prolonged hospitalization. Perhaps the most critical consideration is the time horizon of benefit. Colonoscopies aim to detect slow-growing polyps that could, over 10 to 15 years, develop into cancer. For individuals in their 70s or 80s with a history of clean screenings, the likelihood of a polyp becoming cancerous within their remaining lifespan is exceedingly low. Medical guidelines, including those from the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, now recommend individualized decision-making for colonoscopies after age 75, emphasizing that the marginal benefits often do not justify the risks for asymptomatic seniors with prior normal results. The story of Eileen, a 78-year-old retired schoolteacher, illustrates these dangers. Eileen had undergone clean colonoscopies at ages 68 and 73, with no concerning findings. At 78, her doctor suggested another routine screening, just to be safe. Reluctantly, she agreed. During the procedure, her colon was inadvertently perforated, a rare but catastrophic complication. Emergency surgery saved her life, but Eileen spent nearly a month in the hospital, followed by months of recovery. Her energy and independence never fully returned, and she now regrets not questioning the necessity of the test. Why do routine colonoscopies persist despite these risks? Part of the issue is medical inertia. The assumption that a procedure beneficial at 50 remains essential at 75. Additionally, the fear of cancer, amplified by public health campaigns, can overshadow the need for personalized care. While vigilance is important, seniors must prioritize their overarching goals: maintaining mobility, mental clarity, and emotional well-being. Sacrificing these for a test with limited benefit is a poor trade-off. Instead of routine screenings, older adults should focus on symptom-based care. Persistent symptoms such as unexplained weight loss, abdominal pain, or blood in the stool warrant investigation, including a colonoscopy if appropriate. However, in the absence of symptoms and with a solid screening history, further tests may be unnecessary and potentially harmful. Empowering seniors to make informed decisions requires open conversations with healthcare providers about the trade-offs, ensuring that procedures align with their values and health priorities. By reclaiming agency over their medical care, older adults can honor their body's resilience and focus on living fully in the present, unburdened by the risks of unnecessary interventions. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. Number 5 is the overuse of routine cardiac stress tests. Heart disease looms large in our collective consciousness, fueled by stories of sudden cardiac events striking seemingly healthy individuals. This fear drives the widespread use of cardiac stress tests, which monitor the heart's performance during physical or chemical exertion, particularly among adults over 70. These tests are often ordered as a precautionary measure during routine checkups, with the promise of catching problems early. Yet, for many asymptomatic seniors, routine stress testing does more harm than good, leading to a cascade of risky interventions with little tangible benefit. The appeal of a stress test lies in its apparent simplicity. Walk on a treadmill or receive a chemical stimulant, allow doctors to monitor your heart rate and electrical activity, and receive reassurance, or a plan, if something looks amiss. However, the reality is far more nuanced. Aging naturally alters the cardiovascular system, resulting in stiffened arteries, mild plaque buildup, or slower recovery after exertion. These changes, often harmless, can appear as abnormalities on a stress test, triggering false positives that mislabel healthy seniors as at risk. A false positive result often initiates a diagnostic and interventional cascade. Patients may be referred for coronary angiograms or catheterizations, which involve threading a catheter into the heart's arteries to check for blockages. These procedures carry significant risks for older adults, including bleeding, stroke, kidney damage from contrast dyes, and infections. If a minor blockage is found, doctors may recommend stent placement or even bypass surgery, despite evidence that these interventions often provide no survival benefit for asymptomatic patients. Recovery from such procedures is particularly challenging for seniors, who face higher rates of complications and prolonged rehabilitation. The story of Harold, a 76-year-old grandfather from Illinois, underscores these risks. Harold was active and symptom-free, enjoying daily walks and time with his grandchildren. During an annual checkup, his doctor recommended a stress test as a routine precaution. The test revealed a minor irregularity, leading to a catheterization that identified non-obstructive plaque. Despite the lack of symptoms, a stent was placed. Post-procedure, Harold suffered internal bleeding due to blood thinners, requiring hospitalization and a 3-month recovery. His experience highlights the dangers of pursuing tests without clear justification, transforming a healthy life into one marked by medical complications. Why do such tests remain commonplace? Fear plays a significant role. Fear of missing a hidden issue, fear of sudden cardiac events, and fear of inaction. Additionally, outdated medical paradigms perpetuate the notion that more testing equates to better care. However, leading cardiologists and organizations, such as the Choosing Wisely initiative, now advocate against routine stress testing in asymptomatic older adults. Research shows that these tests do not reduce heart attack risk or mortality rates in this population and may lead to unnecessary harm. The smarter approach is symptom-driven care, guided by what matters to the person. Seniors experiencing chest pain, shortness of breath during light activity, dizziness, rapid heartbeat, or unexplained fatigue should seek evaluation, which may include a stress test if warranted. However, for those feeling well, sleeping soundly, and staying active, the body's signals often provide a more reliable guide than a machine's output. Healthy aging prioritizes preserving energy, independence, and comfort over chasing hypothetical risks. By embracing lifestyle habits like regular exercise, heart-healthy nutrition, stress reduction, and social connection, seniors can support their cardiovascular health without subjecting themselves to the dangers of unnecessary testing. The true test of wisdom lies in knowing when to step off the treadmill, both literally and metaphorically, and choose a path that honors the body's resilience and the life it sustains. Thank you for joining us on this eye-opening journey through the health checkups that might not serve you as well as you think after 70. We've explored the hidden risks of routine screenings like colonoscopies, full body scans, and cardiac stress tests, and shared stories that show why more testing doesn't always mean better care. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that's changed the way you think about your health? How do you plan to bring this knowledge into practice in your life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights inspire us and others in this community. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us keep creating content to inform and empower you. Stay thoughtful, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next video.